New here at 4:30, a celebration today for Cardinal Blase Cupich. He is marking 50 years in the Catholic Church, the last 10 plus of them right here in Chicago. Joe Donlan caught up with him and has a look back.
Yes, I sat down with the Cardinal this morning to mark these 50 years, and under church law, he had to submit his resignation when he turned 75. And he did that last March, but that doesn't mean he's going anywhere, at least just yet. He will remain in place until Pope Leo decides to replace him, and as we know, they're friends, so we'll see. Now, speaking of Pope Leo, I asked the Cardinal about the one thing over the past 50 years he'll never forget.
I think it was standing on the balcony when the Pope was announced and when he came out, and because some of the cardinals shoved me up to the front because they, being from Chicago, and the Pope was in the next balcony over. And to look over that crowd, and it was thrilling, but the gathering of all the people that were there, and then to hear him speak.
La pace sia con tutti voi.
My friend, Robert Prevost, speaking to the crowd in perfect Italian and then Spanish, I think that is something I'll never forget, looking out over that basilica.
Let's talk about your recent trip to Nagasaki to mark the anniversary of the dropping of the atomic bomb, 1945.
Right.
You made some poignant comments about the Church's teachings on war and the just war theory.
Well, I think that it was clear that, first of all, people, even those who invented this weapon, didn't know the catastrophic effects that it would have because it had not been tested on people before. And we have to make sure that we never have a nuclear explosion on this planet again, that we don't kid ourselves that we have security simply because we have atomic weapons.
What did you want people to take away from that regarding Ukraine and especially the situation in Gaza today?
War is always a failure for humanity. So we have to look for a way in which we preempt all of that by making sure that we sit down and listen to each other and talk to each other before we begin to rearm. And that, I fear, right now is happening. We're rearming across the world.
Do you worry that there could be another nuclear weapon used?
I think so. When you have 9 countries that have them, we had this recent flare-up between Pakistan and India. Both of them are nuclear nations. And I think anything's possible.
You know the Pope. Is there a chance he may not be in a hurry to replace you?
Well, I don't want to trade on that, but I think that he seems to agree with me on a number of things. We've been friends for a good decade and worked together in the last 6 years. So he knows my mind and I know his, so I think we're suited for each other in a very good way.
It's not a hard and fast law, I guess, obviously, because it's not like you have to leave when you turn 75. Right. Are you okay with that, the 75? I mean, you could run for Congress or president. There's no age limit there.
Well, I have a job where I don't have to run for re-election. That makes it nice. And I don't have to raise any money for that either.
Yeah. Are you ready to step aside?
Yeah, I would step aside when I'm asked to do that, but I'm not going to resign from the priesthood. I'm going to continue to do work. I started off teaching high school kids, and I like that. And so if the new Archbishop comes in and there is an opening in a high school that he'd like me to be chaplain of or do some teaching at the college level, which I've done before, I'd be happy to do that.
Cardinal, thank you for your time. I'm sure we'll be seeing you around. This is not goodbye.
This is not goodbye.
Thanks, Cardinal. Yeah, so if and when he wants to stay in Chicago, he did say that much. And it sounds like that much is up to him, so if and when that happens.
Sure.
Always interesting to catch up.
Absolutely.
You can talk about so much with Cardinal Cupich, and we'll do more, hear more of our conversation. The meaning of life. Oh. We went deep.
Oh, that's at 6?
That's at 6.
Well, I want to hear it, so I'll be tuning in for the meaning of life. Thank you, Joe.